Today I'm trying an experiment. For the first time I will not be holding the EM that I'm reviewing in my hands. After watching this video I want you to leave a comment and tell me if you prefer this experience or if I should continue playing with them while speaking about them. Today's subject is YanYin Carmen. Carmen is a name inspired by a Spanish opera, which is full of emotion, and YanYin Carmen is one of the EMs with the highest amount of resolution, detail, and yet it is a bass canon. Yanin is known for providing some of the bassiest, thickest, and warmest sounding EMs on the market. They are just true bass cannons. They will provide you with the lushest, richest, and bassiest sound that you can imagine. Typically, Yanin products have been Basshead EMs, but this one, the Carmen, this also has the resolution, clarity, and details to be a flagship. Starting with the build quality, YanYin Carmen is made of resin and it has full contact with my ears. It provides a very good overall comfort. While I'm wearing them, the cable YanYin includes with the Carmen is one of the highest quality cables. In fact, the cable of the YanYin Carmen is actually of a similar quality to an audiophile grade cable at $300 to $500 US. So out of the $450 US that YanYin Carmen goes for currently, almost half the price could be just the cable, considering the thickness, build quality, reliability, and everything about the cable. We have options to purchase them with a 3.5 single-ended cable or 4.4 millimeters balanced cable. YanYin Carmen has a shallower fit, which works very well with my ears because it doesn't place any kind of stress on the ear canal. It allows me to enjoy them while I'm wearing them without feeling like I have to take them out or like something is pushing too deep inside my head. Most of the competition goes a bit deeper, which creates a lower comfort. YanYin Carmen also has a really good comfort from the cable point of view because although the cable is quite thick and heavy, it doesn't conduct any kind of microphonic noise. For the source, YanYin Carmen is not very sensitive to source noise, so you don't have to worry if your DAC or your DAP has a bit of hissing. YanYin Carmen typically doesn't reveal those, and they don't really scale that much with the source, although they like a high quality source as they are already quite warm and thick, bassy, and heavy. The passive noise isolation is great. At 26 decibels of passive noise isolation, you won't hear much that's happening in the room. They don't leak at all, and for an EM that's released under such a colorful design, the sound is so ballsy and manly and powerful that you just don't expect it. When I saw the glittery purple design, I expected the Carmen to be somewhat either Harman curve tuned or H2090 curve, something more generic and more chi-fi tuned or V-shaped, but no, this is the L shape. The L shape starts at the base with the highest amount of bass, then the mid-range is slightly behind. In the case of Carmen, the mid-range is about at the same time as the bass, then the treble just rolls off quite quickly. So we get a pretty smooth and non-present treble in the sound. Although it is not rolled off for the extension, you hear 20 kHz treble, it is much quieter than the mid-range. I'm talking at about a difference of 15 to 20 decibels. The treble is much quieter, but it exists, which is nice because if it did not exist, the sound would feel like it lacked detail. The bass is the central element in the sound of the Carmen. They can create the type of bass that earth shakes your world. They create a beautiful amount of depth, of power, and of punch. It is the bassiest, most impressively bass heavy sound that I've heard. They are all about the bass. You will always hear the bass with the Carmen. They always give you such a thick and powerful sound. Well, this inherently works quite well with rap, with techno music, with most pop music. It also works very well for metal because you hear the bass guitar, you hear a lot of depth in rock, and especially rock and metal tends to typically have the bass guitar muted or turned very low in volume, while with the Carmen you notice it quite quickly, and that works very well for creating a emotional and impressive experience. Carmen also has a voice-centric sound, so they typically push the lead vocalist right up into your ears. You hear that vocalist quite clearly. It's a very pleasing kind of signature, very unique, but it can feel a bit narrow and a bit intimate at times. The thing is, they separate the forward layer from the background layer quite well. So while the central element in music, for example, the lead instrument, lead vocalist will sound very close to you. The background elements or everything else will be pushed in the back laterally. In depth, everything will play quite far away from you, so they tend to expand the size of the soundstage despite sounding quite intimate in the voices. It is a unique take on sound. Both male and female voices are presented naturally with a good amount of detail and emotion, while the treble is inherently low in quantity. This being said, the sound is never grainy, it is extremely fluid, kinda wet, kinda waxy, so it is between wet and waxy. By waxy, I mean that it still has a pretty hard impact, but it has a fluid character. Like, instead of hitting on a wet surface, you hit on a waxy surface. You still get some impact, but like you are hitting on a skin texture, you see, instead of just pure wet, which would be like splashy, you get a sound instead of it being dry, like hitting on a metallic surface, which would also have a bit of that metallic texture. YanYin Carmen is excellent if you like bass. It is excellent if you like resolution, and with Lean Soul supporting it, you will sure have a fun experience if you purchase it. Lean Soul is one of the best shops selling Chi-Fi IEMs. They are available on Amazon, on AliExpress, they have their own store, and they just bring those to our world. Lean Soul is one of the best shops to shop and purchase from, especially when you need Chi-Fi. At the end of the day, is Carmen worth your money? If you're a basshead, yes. It's just a straight yes. I don't know of any EM with more bass regardless of the price point. The only earphone that gets close is Dita Perpetua, but Dita Perpetua is much pricier. And yet Carmen is a bit more comfortable than Dita Perpetua. I prefer the cable of the Carmen, more ergonomic, more natural, while the cable of Dita Perpetua, while of a very good quality, is not quite as comfortable. Most other basshead EMs also don't have quite the resolution and the detail that Carmen has. For example, there was the Campfire Mammoth, which is a basshead EM and also quite heavy, but the resolution is slightly lower than that of the Carmen. Carmen has a better micro detail and a better dynamic handling. This typically means that when a song gets really crowded and busy, for example in a rock song or in a busy orchestra, Carmen tends to reveal each instrument a bit better. It tends to keep the definition of each instrument and the instrument separation a bit better. This typically is associated with a high dynamic processing. Also, Carmen does very well with music which is highly dynamically compressed. For example, modern pop, rock, metal, it has no issues playing those. There are EMs which work very well only with more mature music which is not as dynamically compressed, and usually this is a sign of good quality product. When an EM or an earphone can handle dynamic compression, it is of a good quality. When it can't handle dynamic compression, you can look elsewhere a bit, because most music you listen to will likely be dynamically compressed and you want something that handles it nicely. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying your time at Audiophile Heaven. Don't forget, tell me if you like this format. Thank you so much for watching once again. Please like this video if you are enjoying it. Please subscribe to Audiophile Heaven and share this video with your friends. Also, you can watch more videos if you want to help me. Thank you so much for watching and see each other really soon. Bye!